In this video, I'm going to show you how to use the SimplePRO Protractor. Hi, this is Justin from Precast Simplified. In this video, we're going to show you how to use the SimplePRO Protractor. So in our last video, we just installed the protractor, and now we're going to actually show you how to use it. When it first installs, if you don't see this icon actually at the bottom here, it could be up in this area. So you may have to bring it down and put it down here. This program runs differently than most programs. It doesn't have one of these big items in the taskbar. It just runs here in this little spot right here. Let me, I'm just going to bring this down for a second so we can just see the transparency of it and how you can move it around. Basically always going to be on top of whatever you put up. So if I bring up a program, my email, you can see it's always on top of these programs. So if you ever need to get it down, you can just double tap on the icon or double tap to open it. The first thing you want to do when you first open the protractor is you want to set up your angles the way that your company does your angles. So to set your 0 angle, you can just double tap on any angle. If I double tap on the 180, it changes it to 0, and then it also changes all of the other angles. And then I also want to set up my rectangular angles. So I'm going to click on my rectangular mode. Now you can see there's a rectangle in the middle, and I'm going to set this up the same way to put my 0 on the left. And then my 90 needs to be at the top, so we have a feature to flip those. I'm going to right click, and I'm going to click on swap 90 to 70. That just swaps them. So now that my angles are going this way, now if I go back to my round and rectangular mode, they're both the same. But at your company, you may have a different angles for your round. You may have them the 0 straight up, but on your boxes it may be to the left. So this allows you to set both of those angles independently. Now at the top here, you have a plus sign and a minus sign. So if we do the minus sign, it just subtracts the pipe. And if we hit the plus sign, it adds pipes. This is also a nice stress reliever. If you're on the phone, you can always open your protractor and add and remove pipes. Now, as you place the pipes, you can drag them to any angle that you want. So I'll show you that a little bit more when we actually get a plan set up. Another feature is you can set the north direction. So basically on your plan set, you're going to have a north direction. If you double tap on this N, it'll turn red and you can rotate it around. If you let it sit there for a second, it will lock into that position. Also, you can double tap on it and it will lock into position. So you just want to set your north arrow at the angle that your plans are north. And then what that does is it puts the direction on each of the angles. So as I drag over here, you can see this is north, but if I go a little bit further, it's northeast. Same thing if I go a little bit further this way, it's northwest. Now at the bottom here, we have round and rectangular mode. So on the round mode, it's currently on the rectangular mode, so let me change it to the round mode. Basically, I can change this and it doesn't change any angles, only the angle of the pipe. But you may have it be that on a round structure, your out pipe is at 0. So we can tap this again, and now you have a 0 in this circle. And now it doesn't matter what angle this blue pipe is, it changes every other angle. So if I come around this way, as I get to this pipe, it changes that pipe to be 0. And it changes all the primary angles. You can turn that off. If it ever gets stuck where it's not right, you can always double tap in the middle here and it will reset it back to the primary angles that you originally set. Now in the rectangular mode, we can go to that mode here. We also have a feature in here where you can tap on this, it brings in an R. What that R means is you can actually rotate this rectangle. So usually you need to get your rectangle at a particular position. So as you rotate it to match up with the plan angle of the box, it changes all of the other angles of the pipes. And you can always double tap here to reset it back to default. There's one other thing I want to show you before we get to the plans. We right click here, we can open settings. And over here, you can change your snap increments. So if I change this to be 5, for example, as I change, now you can see it's going 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70. So if you wanted to not be 1 degree, you wanted to be 2 degrees or 3 degrees or whatever, then you can set that up. And we also have this primary angle pipe snap. And you can see it's currently at 5 degrees. Let me just increase this. Let's do 15. What that is basically as you get close to a primary angle, less than 15, it will jump to that angle. So we'll come down here and bam, right from 20, 15, and then jumps right to that angle. That's helpful because it's kind of annoying if it's like you don't place the pipes exactly perfect or have it directly on top of the plan and it's really 180. So I usually have this at, say, usually keep my angle increment at 1 and then maybe have this at 3 or 2. Now, if you don't want to snap to the primary angles, you can turn it off for the rectangular or for the round mode, or you can turn it off for the rectangular mode, or you can have them both on. If they're colored, that means they're on. So if I turn this to be off right now, change this to be 5, as I come around here, you can see it doesn't jump to that angle. If I turn it on, come close to 0, poop, it jumps right to the 0. Now, another thing you can do here is you can adjust the transparency. So right now we're on the white color, so I can hit the minus sign, and now you can see it's very transparent. You're going to need to be able to see through it, on your plan, so you probably wouldn't want it like this. This is the easiest way to demonstrate it, but you'd probably want it, somewhere in this area. And you can also change it to be black as well. So if I tap on this box here, now I can change it to be black. So on a white set of plans, you may like this look better. Another feature we have here is changing the protractor size. So this is pretty large, so it can get in the way of things on your plans. So you can also change it to a medium size or a small size. Small size is very small. I don't know if you'll be able to use that because it's pretty hard to read these numbers, but the medium size isn't that bad, so you can use that. I'm going to keep it on the large size for this video just to make it a little bit easier to see in the video. And then whenever you're done with the settings, you can click Save. The only other thing you have here is you can close it, and then that just brings it down into here. Double tap it to open it again. Also down here, if you right click on it, you can hide the protractor. You can open the settings, hide the settings. And if you ever needed to get back to your license manager, you can come into here and you can check the status of your license. If you got a new computer or something, you can deactivate your license. You can also buy additional licenses here. And also you can manage all of this stuff right on our website. All right, so now let's show you how to use it on a set of plans. So here we have our protractor. And the first thing you want to do when you go into a set of plans is set your north arrow so that your directions are actually correct. We're going to come down here, we're going to find our north arrow, double tap on our north, and then just change it to be pretty good there. Let's change it to our round mode. And we're on a sanitary water distribution sanitary sewer plan. So I have 2 sanitary manholes that we're going to test this on here. So we can zoom in on the plans, and we can either move the plans around to match the protractor location, or we can move the protractor, right? So you get it on there as close as you can to being right, and then you would move your out pipe, and then you would add a pipe for your other pipe. So we have a pipe coming in over here. And here, if you change this to be your 0, then this will change your out pipe to be 0. It will change all the other pipes and angles and everything. So here you can see we have our out pipe at southeast. So that would be this here, this one here. And then our in pipe is at 4320 at northwest. And here you can see this is at northwest. Our pipe 1, our pipe 2. All of these labels match Titan's numbering system and coloring system in VT3000. And we'll take a look at that in a second. All right, now another thing here, we're going to go over to this one, and this is a three-way. So before I put the protractor on there, you can kind of see what's going on here. So I'm going to say this is the out pipe here, and then we have this pipe, and then we have this pipe. And now let's look at what it's telling us over here. So it's saying the out is at south. So I actually did have that correct. But if I had the out pipe at the wrong angle, then it would tell me that the out pipe is not at the right angle. Now it just depends on, if your plan set's actually giving you these angles. Some of them don't. I do like it when they do, because otherwise it's kind of hard to tell which pipe is coming from where. But now we have all of our angles. So we have our east is this one here, our north is this one here, and our south is our out. So you can see that works really well. Now if you didn't want to use the 0 mode, you can move this. Let's move this off of here so we can see it a little bit better. You can turn it off, and it should go back to the default angles. If it does not go back to the default angles, you can always just double tap on whatever angle is supposed to be your default 0, and then it will change to be that. So if you ever get into a situation where your angles are not correct, you can always just reset it by double tapping on any of the angles to reset your 0. All right, so now let's go look at a rectangular structure. So I'm going to change it to my rectangular mode, and I'm going to double tap on it just to make sure that the primary angles are set back to where they need to be. I'm going to remove all my pipes just so I don't have anything starting there. And then here is our structure. So a pipe coming across the road, and then we have these pipes coming in at an angle on each side. So a couple different ways you could do this, but if you need to use the longer side of the box, like in this case, it would probably be the best to use a longer side of the box over here if you needed to. Now it could be square, it could be a 3x3 structure. The pipe sizes are 18 and 18. So you'd probably be able to fit it in a 3x3 with these angles. But if you wanted to, we can bring our protractor right on top of the structure. We can put our rotation mode on, and we can rotate our rectangle. So it's directly, this side is directly straight, and then this will be kind of in the right orientation that it needs to be at to, eventually get set in that, at that angle. Now we can add our pipes. So we're going to put this one over here. So you can see our out is at north, so I know this is the correct out pipe. And then it doesn't matter what I set these at right here. We have our east and our southeast, right? So that one is how you would do that one. And then we have one other one over here. So I got this one highlighted here. So I'm going to reset it back to the defaults. Let me just remove my pipes real quick. So in this one, what I want to do is I have 24-inch pipe and 24-inch pipe. You could use a round structure here as well, but I want to use a square structure, and I want to split the angle between these two pipes to minimize the angle that it comes into the box. So what I mean by that is I'll put my box on here. I will rotate it like this. So I'm using the long side of my box, and I'm basically making the angle between the primary angles the same on each side. So that makes maybe a 20-degree angle, makes it 10 degrees, and it's very easy to build that way. You can always turn your rotate off so you don't accidentally rotate it. Then we can add our pipes on here, drag them to the correct locations. There we go. And then you can see from our call out, I'm going to just move it off to the side so we can see everything clearly. Our out is at northwest, one of our ins is at south, and our other in is at east. So as long as you take this information and put it into Titan, it will look like this. So let's go ahead and open up Titan, and I'll show you how that works real quick. So you can see I put in my top elevation, I put in my structure ID, top elevation, my elevations here. So we have all of our elevations here. Open the preview. See, we basically have exactly what the protractor did, but the protractor is in the orientation of the plans, where in Titan it's fixed at this rotation here. Now also, if I change my rectangle to be the exact angle that it is in Titan, so I can actually hover over here, you can see it's at the exact angle. Now you can see that my angles, if I offset the angles so that the holes are centered in the structure, but you can kind of see how all of these angles do match up if I do rotate, not using the plan orientation, but using the orientation of Titan itself. All right, so that's all I wanted to show you in this video. That's basically how you use the protractor. There's not much to it. You basically just put it on your plans, put in the pipes, drag them to the correct angles. It gives you all the information right here, color-coded directly with Titan. I hope you found that video helpful. If you did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section of this video, and I will see you in the next video. So I just found a nice bonus feature of the protractor, another kind of stress relieving or fidget thing that you can do. If you're in your rectangular mode and you have your R here, you can take it and you can spin it around. Kind of nice. Something to do while you're on the phone, or all of your quotes are piling up and you have no idea how you're going to get them all done. Just open your protractor, spin it a few times, and your path to success will come clear.